Stop scrolling right now, because what I'm about to tell you is not some harmless royal family drama. This is a cold, calculated palace power move so sharp, so deliberate, that insiders say it may be the biggest internal monarchy shift since the abdication crisis of 1936. King Charles III flew thousands of miles to the United States. Think about that. He crossed oceans, entered the same country where his own son was living, stayed within flying distance of Prince Harry and still refused to see him. No private dinner, no discreet father-son meeting, no emotional reunion hidden from cameras, nothing. According to reports, Harry wanted a private audience more than once, and Charles declined. Let that sink in. This was not a father being too busy. This was a king making a statement in silence, a statement louder than any speech ever could be. Charles was in America. Harry was in America. Yet the real distance between them was political, emotional, and absolutely brutal. When the king's plane left without a Montecito stop, every palace watcher understood the message instantly. Harry is no longer priority. Harry is no longer central. Harry is no longer necessary. Now imagine the panic behind closed doors when that itinerary became public. Phones ringing, advisors whispering, emergency strategy talks. Because when a king battling health issues chooses to spend his limited time on state matters instead of his own son, that is not scheduling. That is hierarchy. That is a list of importance being revealed in real time. And Harry, once the rebellious prince who thought he still had leverage, may have just discovered where he now stands, at the edge, outside the circle, looking in. Palace aides reportedly saw it clearly. If Charles would not meet Harry now, then the monarchy had already moved on emotionally and strategically. And here comes the question Buckingham Palace will never say out loud. If Harry has been quietly removed from the center, then who is filling the empty space he left behind? Because institutions hate vacuums. Monarchies especially. Someone always rises when someone else falls. And the answer is a name many outside Britain barely noticed until now. James Alexander, Earl of Wessex, 18 years old, son of Prince Edward and Sophie. For years he was background wallpaper in royal photographs, a polite teenager in a suit, a face in the second row. Easy to miss, easy to underestimate. But sometime between late 2025 and early 2026, something changed. Quietly, smoothly, almost surgically. James stopped being background and started being future. And this is where it gets deliciously uncomfortable for the Sussex camp. The public did not resist James. They embraced him instantly. No controversy, no endless debate, no emotional fatigue, no headline warfare, just steady approval. His favorability numbers reportedly climbed week after week in that slow, boring way palace strategists adore, because viral fame burns hot and dies fast. Stable popularity lasts decades. While Harry and Meghan built a brand around noise, James was building value around silence. While others demanded attention, he received it naturally. That contrast is deadly. Even the British press, famous for smelling scandal from miles away, treated him with unusual softness. No tabloid ambushes, no character assassinations, no screaming debates over whether he was fit for duty. He was simply allowed to exist, serve, and be liked. In modern royal life, that kind of media piece is almost unheard of, and insiders reportedly began using a phrase so sharp it could slice glass. The spare that was promised. Read that again. The spare that was promised. Hidden inside those words is a brutal message. Harry was never irreplaceable. The role he vacated was not sacred. It was simply waiting for someone more suitable to occupy it, and now someone has. Inside palace walls, James has reportedly been admired for qualities the institution values more than glamour: discretion, poise, discipline, steadiness, duty. He does not demand the spotlight. He does not threaten the system. He does not turn private pain into public product. He stands where asked, smiles when needed, and performs the ancient choreography of monarchy without complaint. That may sound boring to Hollywood, but to Buckingham Palace it sounds like treasure. And to many Britons exhausted by years of Sussex turbulence, it feels like relief. Now compare the images side by side. Harry and Meghan spending recent years explaining stalled deals, public backlash, brand confusion, and endless contradictions. James quietly rising without needing to explain anything. Harry speaking loudly about relevance. James becoming relevant without speaking much at all. That kind of contrast is not accidental, it is institutional storytelling. The palace does not always fight with words. Sometimes it replaces one image with another and lets the public do the rest. And make no mistake, this is bigger than family tension now. This is corporate monarchy logic. A vacancy appeared, it has been filled. Efficiently, elegantly, permanently, perhaps. Because once an institution proves it can function better without you, your bargaining power evaporates overnight. Harry may still have titles, headlines, and global name recognition, but James has something more dangerous inside royal walls: usefulness. And usefulness always defeats nostalgia. So while the world keeps asking whether Harry will ever return, palace minds may already be focused somewhere else entirely. On the young man who asks for nothing, creates no storms, and quietly fits the shape of the future. And if that is true, then Harry's biggest problem is no longer exile. It is replacement, because rejection can be reversed. But replacement? That is how doors close forever. But if you think the story ends with Harry being sidelined, you have not seen the most explosive chapter yet, because the moment many insiders say sealed the Sussex decline was not a palace meeting, not a leaked memo, not even a royal speech. It was a party, a celebrity birthday party in California that collided with one of the most sacred dates in the British calendar. While the United Kingdom stood still for Remembrance Sunday, honoring the fallen with silence, wreaths, and grief, reports placed Harry and Meghan at Kris Jenner's lavish 75th birthday celebration in Calabasas. Think about those two images crashing into each other at the same moment. In London, gray skies, solemn faces, veterans bowing their heads, the king standing in the cold to honor sacrifice. In California, lights, cameras, designer fashion, cocktails, celebrity chatter, and glamour. Those two worlds existed on the same day, and once the contrast became visible, the damage was immediate. Then came the scramble. Reports claimed the Sussex team wanted photos removed from social media once backlash began brewing. That move may have made things worse, because to critics, deleting the evidence was not respect, it was reputation management. If the solemnity of the occasion truly mattered, they asked, why attend in the first place? That single contradiction hit hard with a British public deeply protective of remembrance traditions. And inside palace circles, whispers reportedly turned icy. For years, there had been patience, restraint, diplomatic silence, but after repeated attacks on the monarchy, followed by attempts to shelter under its sacred customs when convenient, some insiders believed tolerance had expired. The Sussexes were no longer seen as wounded relatives, they were seen as liabilities. And while London was closing ranks, Los Angeles was doing something even more dangerous. It was stepping back. The couple's American reinvention once depended on powerful patrons, elite networks, and industry gatekeepers who could transform royal controversy into profitable celebrity currency. But by late 2025 and into 2026, that machine reportedly began stalling. One of the loudest signals was the end of Meghan's relationship with powerhouse agency William Morris Endeavor. If true, that was no minor inconvenience. That was a flashing warning light. Agencies do not just book appearances. They create momentum, open doors, protect reputations, and keep clients valuable. When that protection fades, exposure begins. Then there was Oprah, the woman whose 2021 interview helped launch the Sussex narrative worldwide. But in recent years, observers noted increasing distance. Why? Because several claims from that interview were later challenged or contradicted publicly. For a media icon whose brand rests on credibility, unresolved controversies are uncomfortable baggage. Silence can become strategy. And in elite circles, silence from powerful allies can scream louder than public criticism. If endorsement once opened doors, the absence of endorsement can quietly close them. Then came the business reality. The giant streaming deals that once looked like the foundation of a new empire reportedly slowed, stalled, or underperformed expectations. Projects announced with fireworks drifted into uncertainty. Audiences that were once fascinated by the royal escape narrative became harder to impress. The drama that once sold suddenly needed substance, and substance is slower, harder, less glamorous work. Critics argued the Sussex brand had become trapped inside contradiction. Anti-royal messaging while trading on royal identity, demands for privacy alongside selective publicity, claims of independence while constantly referencing the institution left behind. When contradictions pile high enough, trust begins to crack. Meanwhile, back in Britain, James Alexander kept doing something simple and devastating. He kept showing up. No memoir, no podcast warfare, no public score settling, no emotional campaigns, just appearances, duty, composure, discipline. The monarchy, an institution built on ritual and repetition, rewards consistency more than charisma. And James seemed to understand that instinctively. Each quiet appearance became another brick in a new public image, stable, loyal, uncontroversial, fresh. Every time he stood beside senior royals, the same silent question grew louder. If this works, why would the palace need Harry back at all? That may be the deepest wound in this whole saga. Not anger, not punishment, not dramatic rejection, irrelevance. Because institutions can survive enemies more easily than they can tolerate chaos. And once an institution proves it can replace drama with order, the former star loses leverage. Harry was once the indispensable younger prince, the modernizer, the emotional center of global fascination. But fascination fades, duty does not. James became useful in the exact space Harry once occupied, and usefulness inside monarchy is power in its purest form. By spring 2026, the palace strategy looked brutally clear to many observers. Do not argue, do not retaliate, do not feed the circus, simply move forward without them, showcase the working core, elevate the steady hands, let public memory reset itself, let new faces inherit old expectations. It is a colder strategy than confrontation because it requires no visible battle, just absence, just momentum continuing elsewhere, just doors quietly locking while cameras focus on another room. And that brings us back to the question from the beginning. If the king would not meet his own son, who fills the empty space left behind? You know the answer now. A young royal hardly anyone outside Britain once noticed. James Alexander, Earl of Wessex. He did not need scandal. He did not need a brand relaunch. He did not need to trend. He simply needed to be dependable while others became exhausting. In the end, that may be the harshest lesson of all. Loud moments win headlines. Quiet consistency wins institutions. Harry had the louder chapter. James may be getting the longer future. And somewhere behind palace gates, where real decisions are rarely announced and almost never explained, the next era may already be underway. Not with fanfare, not with revenge, with silence. The kind of silence that tells you everything after it is already too late.